Hey everyone, it's Cryptics, and today we're covering limiting beliefs as I've been looking around online and I see a lot of people afraid to even encounter limiting beliefs, and I don't think that's good, like both spiritually and even from the mundane side. Um, Now people avoid these limiting beliefs because, well, they don't want to affect their manifestations negatively. As limiting beliefs, they create blocks you have to overcome down to the subconscious level, and avoiding these beliefs makes sense. Nobody wants to create setbacks that they could completely avoid. So that's like entirely understandable. But there's a sort of fear around limiting beliefs, and I see people attack other people for creating some obscure limiting belief. Um, oh shit. Sorry, I lost it. Uh, or even like suggesting something isn't even possible with manifestation, even though we all seem to know at some level that manifestation has limits. Like, even if you don't agree with like the limits I propose in my other videos, I think we know that there is limits within it. Like, I don't see anyone trying to manifest a limb back or trying to manifest back a dead relative. People seem to turn to shifting to that, which is basically what I said in my video, just a little bit more. But well, yeah, I think that's the appropriate response. But the fear and extreme avoidance, though, seems to create like a hostile environment for people who are genuinely curious and just want to ask questions about manifestation, but they get shut down because it's like, oh my god, you're creating limited beliefs, you can't do that. And I think that's wrong. I don't think we should do that. When questions become synonymous with a threat, that's when things turn into cult territory, and this community deserves so much better than that. And we're all better than that. So while it makes sense to avoid limiting beliefs, exposing yourself to these limiting beliefs and then breaking them down is like helping your brain build up resistance. So like think of limiting beliefs like a cold or some other illness. And your brain is the immune system. You train your immune system by you get sick. You don't intentionally get sick, but you do get sick, and then you confront it by your immune system attacking it, and then it learns how to take down the illness and defeat it. If you completely avoid all limiting beliefs as much as possible, you don't confront it, then you don't get to learn how to take down limiting beliefs as effectively, as you haven't trained yourself to reject such beliefs. You're like an infant, like they're super susceptible to illnesses, and that's basically what you're doing. You're allowing yourself to stay in that stage where you haven't trained yourself to build up against that. You cannot filter out every single limiting belief. You will encounter them at some point. I saw a comment saying that manifestations can only be permanent if you persist on it for like 90 days, and I was like, where did this arbitrary number come from? Where did this come from? What even is a day? Like, is it like the cycle? What if you live in a place where it stays daylight for like what if you travel by plane? What's a day? Um, anyways, I thought that was just funny, but um, but basically, I'm not saying that you should go out there and like find and consume every limiting belief there is out there. What I am saying is to not react with such hostility when encountering a limiting belief. Like, you can read it or hear it, then question it. Like, does it make sense with what you know or you experience? And then discard or take that belief into consideration. Notice I say consideration, like not a full blown, yep, this is 100% true, everything is correct here, not questioning at all. Because a big part of my channel is asking why and having you guys come up with your own ideas and then finding your spiritual truth, because nobody can know for sure. Like, let's be real, you're not gonna find every answer from some YouTuber on the internet. It's not gonna happen, guys. But anyways, this leads on to my second point. Fearing limiting beliefs bleeds into fearing any questioning of manifestation mechanics. So now, while making these videos, even I doubted manifestation as like a whole, but then I took that belief. I was like, okay, the doubt with manifestation. I asked myself, okay, does this new belief potentially line up with my current experiences? Like, everything I've done, everything I remember, does this line up? And it was very quick no, because I've had quite a few experiences with manifestation. But the important part here is that I was willing to ask myself these questions and then answer them instead of just dismissing them and being like, no, don't think that manifestation is real, and I'm not questioning it at all. Like, while faith does play a role, I think blind faith should only be used when you're like first trying something out. Like, for example, when I first heard of shifting, I was like, yep, let's try this for a little bit. Keyword little bit. No questioning, no nothing. And then afterwards, after I gained those experiences, then I questioned, then I decided to learn more and think about it more. Um, Go into experiences with curiosity and faith when it comes to new spiritual ideas. This doesn't count for things that cost money. Go watch my scams video for that. But I mean, things that cost your time or attention. But then leave with a different curiosity. Discover how that fits into what you know about spirituality, or does it? How does it change what you know? Does it challenge your experiences or your current beliefs, or just put them in a new light? And then yeah, ask these questions that extend beyond the experience that you had. When you avoid questioning altogether because of the fear of some limiting belief, then you take away your ability to find your own spiritual truth, um, or to gain better understanding of spirituality, and maybe even use that to your advantage. Instead, you leave yourself to take the words of other people who can be wrong or have malicious intent. Like, I never want you guys to be like, oh my god, this random emo princess bubblegum looking bitch on the internet has a secret to the universe. No, like, I want you guys to question and find your truth and use my channel as like a launch pad, or like a starting point to get the gears started. The violent avoidance of limiting beliefs, however, prevents you from being able to question and discover those new ideas, new theories, which I think really hinders the spiritual growth of the entire manifestation community. When it comes to limiting beliefs, I don't think they're inherently evil. To me, as like a layer of ritual that lets your brain just switch tasks. It just better be like, yep, we're doing whatever thing now, and that's what we're doing. We're in the zone for that. Like, for example, like having to be in the starfish position or drink water to like shift. Like, yeah, you don't have to. And for some people, changing the position like actually help them shift. But for me, it just added a layer of ritual to help me get into that meditative state. It's still a limiting belief, don't get me wrong, but I kept mine as it was useful to me. So when it comes to limiting beliefs, I think we should train ourselves to fight back against the ones that are just harmful to our manifestations or spiritual journeys, as should we come across them or incorporate them if it helps you, despite it being a limitation. But like, don't avoid them like the plague. There's no point, because then you're just hindering yourself. You're hindering your ability to train your brain to filter those out, and then you're turning yourself into blind belief when you should be asking questions. Like, you're not asking all the time, you know, if like it's healthy to question things. So yeah, guys. Yeah, basically, don't fear exposure. Train yourself to filter them out. Don't be afraid to question and try new ideas, and then incorporate limiting beliefs if you find them helpful. Uh, but yeah, that's that's all for today, guys. As always ask questions, ask why, spiritually or the mundane, and then yeah, cryptics out.